Yes.
Yes.
Hello all. Welcome to the special session of our hackathon. And Suhas will be joining shortly. For now, we have Pulkit. Hey Pulkit, how are you doing?
Hey Siva, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah. Hey Rahul.
Hey Shiva, how's it going, sir?
Yeah, great me. So, for the people who don't know anything about the product now, how would you explain what you do in the world of the Web3?
So, TPH is a community of Web3 enthusiasts such as myself. We have Suhas, Rahul sir, and what we do is we try to break down Web3 concepts and all the events that happened into into the most simplest form, break it down for the people who are new to Web3, and try to engage to them in typical media formats. And we want to enable people to move from Web 2 to Web 3. All of us, we are extremely bullish on Web 3, and we believe that it will build a better world, a more decentralized, a more trustless world in which we take control back from the big tech, back to the people. That is why we're extremely bullish on it. We believe that it is of the magnitude similar to the internet. That's why we've built this community of enthusiasts who engage together, who like to connect with each other and bounce ideas off of one another, who like to work and bring this knowledge to people who have not yet made the jump. That is what we do.
Yeah. Also, a big shout out to the product house web developers, graphic designers, and the marketing guys. Especially the product house stack it has a separate fan base itself. Yeah. Yeah. Like, let's start our PPT.
Okay. All right. Just give me 1 second. Sharing my screen.
Sure.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today's session, we'll be talking about uh, the the brief agenda is we're going to introduce product management and community in Web3. It's brought to you by TPH, like we talked about. Uh, we're in a community of enthusiasts, very passionate about Web3, and we want to bring this knowledge to people who have not yet made the dive into Web3. So before I even begin, Pulkit, um, currently, I'm an associate product manager at Offers, which is a Web2 startup. And even among the Web2 startups, it's among very boring ones. We do supply chain automation stuff. So super, super boring. But in the meantime, I am a core team member at TPH. Mostly, I lead the content and community efforts here. But about me, the most relevant part here is that I am extremely, extremely bullish on Web3 as a whole, the paradigm shift that is being brought about by blockchains and Web3 projects as a whole. Uh, the move from taking control of your data and all these protocols and moving from big tech to decentralized platforms. Okay. What do I do at TPH? So I lead two initiatives here. One is I write about Web3 projects and blockchains on Substack, and we'll shortly be building our blog as well, and they'll be hosted there. But secondly, an initiative that is active right now is we do Crypto Weekly, which is like a Discord session in which you join in and we talk about what big events happened in the last 2 weeks, like if there was a hack, like what really happened, what was the cause of that hack. We break it down to simplest terms, even non-technical folks can understand, folks who don't even have the uh, knowledge of folks who don't have deep technical knowledge about blockchains or even uh, computation as a whole. Or and I think that's it. I'll move forward. So, what is on the agenda today? So, we'll talk about what is product and that is what is product management, community management, what is Web3, and we're going to see the intersection of product management in Web3. That is what exactly is product management in Web3. What is the state of it? What will happen in future? What are the trends? Secondly, we'll talk about community management in Web3. Like, what is the role of community in a Web3 project? How do they is to collide? Then we move on and we'll talk a bit about TPH, what we do, what we as a Web3 native community do, and then we'll talk about how, if you want to break into Web3, how can you do that? And lastly, we'll have a Q&A with Suhas Motwani, uh, co-founder, the product folks, co-founder, the product house. So yeah, that's it. Should I start, Siva? Rahul?
Yeah,
Let's
please.
let's get into it. So, before we even begin, let's establish the very basics of what really product management is. So, folks, if you don't know, before I even begin, this is one of the hottest professions in tech right now. Like, quite literally, the hottest professions right now. The demand of product managers in market is not able to keep up with the number of people signing up to break into product. You'll see movements so huge, like almost everyone who is non-technical, that is, who does not want to code and yet wants to get into the tech domain, they're going for product management. I myself am an associate product manager, so I know. And uh, this is what TPF is about, the product folks. That is a community we'll cover in a bit. So essentially, what exactly is the responsibility of a product manager? It is to help deliver a product from idea to execution, the whole shebang. Like, you have to align all the stakeholders in the process. So what exactly are the stakeholders in the process? That is the business team, that collects the requirements from the clients, the customers, the people who use the product, the designers who build the interface of the setup, the devs who write the code and build the actual product or service in mind. So the one of the responsibilities of the product manager is to align all these people. That is to ideate on how we go from not ideate form the process of how we go from an idea to building it out. They also bring about user centric thinking, like how will the user experience the product. See, the thing is, one of the things is, a developer who builds the product is most of the time uh, does not have the proper user thinking. That is how a user is experiencing the product. A product designer has that, but does not understand the technical aspect of building a product, and they do not understand properly how to the business implications of the product or the service as such. So a PM you can think of is the person who is the all-rounder, who connects all these domains, who has the knowledge and of all of these, and helps deliver it. That is what PM is. One of the very interesting things, let me tell you. So if you sit for any APM role, kabhi bhi, so you'll get asked this thing: what exactly is product management? And all of the interviews as well. So if you want to become a product manager, you have to answer the question, what is product management? And it is so uh, subjective or unclear. uh, Anyways, let's move on. Let's establish what are the basics of community management. Even before that, a community, what is a community? Is just a grouping of people based on maybe their physical features, maybe their ecological, financial features, maybe mental features, or maybe if they have some shared common interest. That is what a community is. Like, TPF is a community of people who are very interested in product management. There is this community called Community Folks, which is a community of people who are very enthusiastic about community management. TPH is a community of people who are very enthusiastic about Web3. So that is what a community is, and a job of a community manager overall is to take this community from let's say 10 people to 1000 people to 10,000 people, help grow it, help manage it. What do I mean manage it? I mean engaging these people. I mean delivering the message of the company or the project or whatever, the top authority that is running the project, helping them deliver their message to the community. Essentially, they help people find value by the product that the company is building, that is the one that is running this company, or helping the community itself find value amongst themselves. So let me tell you, let me walk you through an example. So one of the ways you could find value in a community is, let's talk TPH only. So we ourselves host quizzes, we have sessions on we have discussions, we have to Twitter spaces, etc. But when you join our community, there are so many people who, like yourself, are in the 0 to 1 phase of learning. That is, they might not know some stuff, but they are not experts in it. So in this community, you'll find people, they'll be sharing a thread on what exactly is EVM, which is Ethereum virtual machine, or they'll share you a resource on why Bitcoin is maxed out at 21 million. Why is this? So as someone else learns, they share their resources with you, and that now you can read it. Anyone else who has just joined in, they can read it as such. So that is the role of a community manager, is to help grow and nurture a community such that people align with the objective of the community and find some value in it. That is just a very broad um, overview. Now, with the basics in place, I think it's go time. We can start with the session. We're going to talk about product management in Web3 and community management in Web3. So before I even start with this, let's talk. I'll take you through these, but with an example of an already established community. So we're going to talk about TPF, which is the product folks, which Suhas is a co-founder of, and it is quite literally the biggest product community of product managers and product enthusiasts, product designers in India. There are many more community as well, but this is one of the most successful ones, one of the biggest ones yet. So what all do they do? They they help upskill people in the domain of product management free of cost. That is, they bring about learnings for product management to anyone. They also run a free product management course as well. So all of this ties in because the anyone, let's say Siva, you, let's say 6 months from now you become interested in product management. So now you can join this community, you have free access to this course. You have you join a Slack, and there are all these product managers, there are all these product designers, there are all these people who want to break into product. Now let's say you are working on a product case study, and what do? You run into some trouble. Okay, what do I write in this? How do I solve this problem? So with access to this community, you can ask people those questions and get their opinions on whatever you want to, right? um, so that is how TPF helped some of its constituents find value. Let's talk some stats. So there are about 26,000 Slack members, and as you can see, 100K plus members in terms of social media, like 44K on Twitter, 60K LinkedIn, etc., etc. So I was saying, like, let's talk in terms of this example only. How exactly does TPH provide value to its members? So it provides value because it is upskilling them uh, in the domain of product management. How are they doing it? Like I said, they run a free course, they run competitions which are called uh, product teardown, which is not the scope of this, but the essential thing is they help their members upskill for free of cost. They help people find value in the domain of product management. They are connecting product enthusiasts, that is product managers, designers, anyone, uh, who even has a job in some other domain but interested in product, they can join this community. So they are helping people connect, they're helping companies find PMs, as in they have built a job board, and any company who wants to hire a PM, they can just reach out to TPF. They list the resource. they built they've built blogs and documentation on product management and there's so much more I can't list here. So now just think of TPF and how I've defined it, and replace product management with anything else. Now replace product management with Web3 and we have TPH. Replace product management itself with, let's say, perpetuals, or which is a futures type of contract. And then you have a community of people who are very enthusiastic about some financial instrument. So this is how any community can find value to members, and how it can position itself to, for people who are enthusiastic about that thing, join it, and how they can find value. Now again, coming back, ki, what was the importance? Ki they help people upskill, they helped connect PMs one another, they gave a direction to the community. How did they do that? They conducted sessions on YouTube, Twitter, etc. They brought in world leaders such as uh, Shreyas Doshi and Lenny, who are big personalities in the product domain. And similarly, brands, not brands, that is wrong, firms which want to hire someone in the product, they can reach out to them. They helped their users find value by organizing AMA sessions. So if you are a product aspirant and you want to ask, like, how do I land a product role in phone pay, so they have a product manager from phone pay coming in for an AMA. You can ask him. They have competitions called tear downs, they have meetups, and then you can learn and engage with other PMs by having a chat with them, etc. So this is how any community, just replace the product aspect of it with some other thing, and you can build a community around it, and how these communities can find value. Now, the let's get back to the agenda and the most important part. Um, uh, so, what we're talking about today is product management in Web3 and community in Web3. How uh, how they might intersect. Now, we've established the role of community earlier, uh, but now let's talk about its intersection with Web3. So, I'll give you a very short brief about what exactly is Web3. So, the internet, as we know, was founded in, I think, 1992, World Wide Web. Tim Berners-Lee, something, whatever. Anyways, so in that part we only had read, as in less than 0.1% of the total population even knew how to write code or how to build a web page. So for the masses, that is for people like you and me, you can only read stuff on web pages. You can't write stuff on the internet because it, first of all, it's super hard. Like, how do you write stuff on the internet? Let's say you want to write a blog. So you'll use Substack, but Substack as a website, and similar ones were only established during Web 2 part of it. So in the Web 1 part, you only had HTML pages, which you could code, but required some hosting services which weren't available. So it was, the accessibility of the internet was extremely low. The only thing you could do was open HTML pages, and if you are a bit technical, then you would know that HTML only provides the structure of the web page. That is, you can't do anything on it. There is no interactivity. There is almost nothing complex about it. Um, Give me 1 second, guys. Someone is at the door. I'll get back. Hey, my apologies. Uh, I'll continue. So I was talking about Web one. So initially, it was super technical. No one knew. Yeah. Nowadays, everyone is so apt with technology because everyone has a computer, everyone has a mobile. But back then, people rarely had a PC, or even if they did not have internet access because it was uh, not readily accessible. So the penetration of internet was extremely low, and the only thing, even if you had this connection, was you could mostly read. Now we move on to Web 2, which was brought on by uh, FB, Google, etc. Now, in this paradigm shift, what we had was people could now read as well as write. And what do I mean by write? Like, let me tell you a story. So the what you're doing right now, when you're watching the stream, is actually you're just reading, as in the information is present on the internet and it's just accessible to you, you're just consuming it. There is the information partake here is only one directional, that is information is coming to you in this way from your device, that is it. But write means you're sending information to the internet, and the internet is then processing it, and then it is being made available through the services there. You could think of it this way. Imagine if Facebook only had if on Facebook, all you could do was just read articles, and the articles were just published by the Facebook team. That's it, because no one else can put content on there. That is what it means to write. Now, what you can do is you can see posts from your friends, posts from let's say Pepsi ka ad aa raha hai and all that thing, because that is available because we are able to write on the internet. That is, we are able to put our content on it. In That is what write means. Now, what Web 2 also enabled was extreme amounts of interactivity on the internet and functionality on the internet. Now you can play games in your browsers. You could watch videos. You could do whatever. You could do quite a lot of things. Um, what this enabled was it enabled formation of big tech companies like uh, Meta, Google, Amazon, Apple. Matlab, it's a big tech company, but not necessarily part of Web 2 thing. And Amazon started in the Web 1 generation, but primarily grew into their own size in Web 3 when they launched AWS and all. But anyways, these companies, they control your data. They control your access to it. Like, uh, the most important thing, if you've been following Elon Musk, that is what he has been saying and criticizing, that Donald Trump, I mean, he's a maniacal man, of course, he's a madman, but he has been deplatformed by FB, by Twitter, and many more social media as well. They have permanently they have permanently banned him from accessing their services, even when it has not been dictated by the government. How can anyone do that, and why are they able to do this? How can they control this it to the extent that a former president of the United States, like the president of the United States, is the strong, is like the most influential human, among the most influential human beings, and they are able to deplatform it. So what else can't they do, right? And you've seen that with the access to data that FB had, FB was able to manipulate elections in the US, and it has also been able to manipulate elections in India as well, and many more similar things, like Google or some other firm. I'm not Google, some other firm, I'm not remembering. Somehow just kicked out a bunch of nodes from hosting their services on their platform, and they can just do that. So Web3 enabled these big tech companies to take control of their data, take control of all these services, and these are huge services. They've grown into behemoths, and that is a problem. See, the internet, when it was being formulated, was thought of as uh, as a network for people, and yet it's been hijacked by these behemoths. So that is why that is the narrative we're formulating around Web3, which is now not only can everyone read and write, but they can also own anything. You want to own an image, fine, go ahead, you can own an image. You want to create your own currency, fine, you can do it, and you can build your own currency. You can you want to write articles and own these articles. See, let me also take an example. When you write an article for Substack, it is hosted on Substack, and when it is let's say it when that article, let's say Substack deems it to be violating its terms and conditions, so what can Substack do? Will Substack can delete it? They'll just be like, no, this does not follow our terms and conditions, go away. They've deleted it. That was your content, that is something you wrote, but now they technically they owned it, because now they can delete it or they can play around with it. But that is not something that they should have power with, because that is the content you wrote, right? So Web3 is enabling this. You can own it. And an alternative to Substack is mirror.xyz. With that, you can write your own articles and you own it, and no one can delete it until and unless um, more than 50% of the people in that protocol deem it to be violating some uh, policy or whatever. They can delete it, sure, it's technical, but essentially not one company or not one person is deeming it to be harmful or whatever. And they, not 1% or not exactly one company or very small uh, group of companies is controlling it. We are building sort of like a new internet, native economies, uh, even companies and organizations, and these are free from the control of nation states and private companies. Let me tell you what it means. So think new internet native economies. This means more like what is more like Ethereum or Solana as blockchains. When we talk about companies, we're primarily talking about Web3 projects. From Web3 projects, you can think of as, let's say, Uniswap or PancakeSwap or MakerDAO. These are all I can think of them as companies. And when we're talking about organizations, I'm talking about DAOs. You think Tribe DAO, think Super Women DAO, think Super Team DAO, think Maker DAO, which are hosted on the internet. And because these organizations run on a platform which is running on a blockchain, which requires consensus for it to be controlled. So that is why they are free of control from nation state and even private companies. बहुत- I think I took way too much time explaining this. Sorry, but this is super important. So that is Web3. Essentially, we just moved to another layer of internet, and now you can own stuff. You can securitize is a better term, I think. You can own anything. Like if you saw now people, there was someone who minted the first tweet from Jack Dorsey, and it was sold for 2.9 million. Now it is worth $10. So that is a joke, of course, yes, but still the ability from of moving that is initially Twitter controlled that tweet, as in if the Twitter community want not community, Twitter the company decided to delete that tweet, they can do so. But now what we have done is we've taken that tweet, we've tokenized it, and we made it into an NFT and we've sold it. So now what happens is it is being hosted on another service, and now whoever has paid for it, they own it. So now that was an example, but now you can own almost anything, even digital things, like, as you know, PFPs, like profile pictures, that is JPEGs, monkeys, um, music ho gaya, and articles, anything. All of it is being securitized, tokenized right now. Let's move on. Um, how is Web 2 different? Oh, how is Web 3 different from Web 2? Like, what is the basic change that we've made? So, when we're talking about Web 2, the bottommost layer is the internet, and above it, on top of which are our applications are built. इसके ऊपर मेटा बना है, इसके ऊपर इंस्टाग्राम, ये वो, दैट इज all of these products are being built atop this. But now, once in Web3, the internet is still the bottom layer. We still call it L0, that is the bottommost layer. But atop this, there is another layer we've introduced, and we call this layer blockchains. These are blockchains are, if I have to term it in one sentence, these are um, internet native protocols that enable people to come to consensus about some particular set of rule and transact with one another, or form, uh, run run functions, build projects, etc. on top of it. Essentially, these are just coding environments you can think of that you're building projects atop. Um, what this enables us to do is, we are now Web3. We are now able to build new currencies. My bad, I have made a spelling mistake here. Now we are able to build new currencies, which we call tokens. Now, if you are aware, you might know there is this Web3 uh, NFT project called not Mutant, Bored Apes, and the company that runs it, Yuga Labs, they have also made a token called ApeCoin, and they are just able to build their own coin, that is a currency they've built that can be used to buy and sell stuff in their own metaverse. Similarly, we've built USDC, which is a stable coin. For one USDC, you can get $1 in the real world. It's pegged 1 to 1. But essentially, what it is enabling you to do is, in Web3 projects, you now have a dollar representative. Similarly, we have so many more currencies. Sol हो गया, ETH हो गया, Bitcoin हो गया, etc. etc. One more thing we're able to build. Another aspect of it is communities, which we will talk soon in a bit now. So it's called DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is a group of people who connect, uh, who who govern something, or who who sort of own or run a project together. And what it is enabling us to build as well, our project itself, like MakerDAO is one, which is a lending protocol that also issues stable coins. There is Uniswap, there is Aave, etc., etc. Now the most important part is, this is an in what Web3 is allowing us to build is an internet which is free of control from countries, which I'm calling here um, nation states. And we are also, which is also free of big tech, like big companies, which are now able to uh, uh, come into size of behemoths, which are able to control so much of your data, which are able to control so much of our internet's infrastructure. And all of this data is being hosted on blockchains, which are public ledgers mostly, but which can also be encrypted in certain cases. Like, if you don't want your income to be publicly available, then you can use ZK proofs and also, uh, or some other manners as well. But essentially, what we are doing is, Web3 is enabling us to build a new internet in which you can own anything, and all of this while being uh, staying away from the control from countries and big tech. I explained how we moved away from the control of big tech, but let's talk about the second part, like how is this internet free from the control of countries. So, as you might or might not know, China banned Bitcoin mining as a whole. In China, it is illegal to mine Bitcoin, and yet people, I don't know if they're mining, but they are transacting in Bitcoin, which is illegal. In US, they outlawed trading with a very special smart contract called Tornado Cash, and yet it is still being hosted on the internet. It is still running perfectly fine because it is hosted on Ethereum mainnet, which is the Ethereum blockchain. and anyone can still use it. Why? Because if it was owned by a very one particular company, let's say Meta, now because Meta is located in US and US has outlawed it, Meta would have to follow the law and they would have to remove that smart contract. But now, because this is not the case, and people from all over the internet are hosting these services, are validators to this protocol. Because of this, it is a worldwide thing, and now it is that much harder to ban such a resource, such a smart contract. Another thing, let's continue with how Web3 is different from Web2. So, like I said, communities can now control projects. That is, imagine Instagram being controlled not by Meta but by us people, all of us who use it. And how do we define key who owns it? Let's say for an example only, key some by some metric I have formulated a way to quantify how much you use Instagram, and use that to convert into token. Like for every one post you get 5 points, for every like you get 1 point. And in this manner I have some number for each and every person who is using Instagram. By using those points, I can just convert these points into token and give people these tokens. Now, for surely there is no one person, or there are no 50 people who can control Instagram in this way if I choose to distribute the token this way. Why? Because it is such a widely used distributed program. So there is no one agency, or there is no one particular user or one small group of users that can control it. But as such as it would be controlled by quite a huge set of users, because I've chosen to distribute the token in such a manner, and that token is the one that enables you to govern it. Think of it this way: कि जैसे you have your stocks, and your stocks enable you for voting rights in the company. And think of it this way. And I took this example earlier only. Now people can control and own their own content instead of the company that is hosting these services, or instead of the company that is providing you the ability to write the stuff. Now, like I said, on Substack they can delete your article, but on Mirror no one can do that. Why can't anyone do that? Because on Mirror your article is written on the protocol, and it is sent to tens of thousands of people who choose to be uh, value providers for these services. So they host these services, uh, this service for you. They host your article from on their local device. They store it, and it is accessible through smart function in that manner. And now if it is outlawed, or if one person or one company which is a part of the network decides that this article should be deleted, they can't do it, because they don't have control of all the people in the community who are storing your article. Similarly, Instagram. So Instagram is a social media platform owned by Meta, but its alternative is Lens protocol. You might or might not have heard this. And if you are a Twitter degen, you might have noticed some people having dot lens in their name. That signifies that these people are on Lens protocol. What does it mean? Lens protocol allows you to form social graphs. So think of it this way: I follow you, you follow someone else, and I follow 10 more people. This all forms a graph. If you are aware of a graph, it's more of a data structure in computer science. It's quite complicated, but just say you can think the web to illustration is a more accurate mapping of the graph than this one. But let's take that one as well. So this is what your social media network might look like. Now on Instagram, what might happen is they might ban your account, and when they do, your whole network is lost. But Lens protocol is a Web3 project which is with its own governance. So no one can do that until and unless you violate the terms of services which are written in the smart contract itself. Now anyone can read this code, okay, what is written in the smart contract. So There is no controlling company that will alter the smart contract, because you can't do that, first of all. Secondly, anyone can go ahead on the internet and read it and verify if these rules which are stated are the ones that are in the smart contract. Now you can verify. Now because of this, the code enforces the terms and conditions of the protocol. Now if you are not violating it, or if you are within the bounds, then no one can kick you until and unless there is a social consensus that they have to remove this person. But now, as you can see, we have moved past the control from one organization, from one person, when it comes to people owning their own content. So, like I was saying, in Lens protocols example, we have the social graph. Now you can port it to any social media, and now that social media company, let's say Insta only, they can remove your account, sure, but any other service can still plug into Lens protocol, use their API, and get access to your social protocol, and you still have access to it. And that can only be removed if you break the laws which are stated in the smart contract itself. um, Moving on, there is another aspect in which Web3 is different from Web2 is you can build your own version of things. Now, when we talk about blockchains, all of these blockchains, what are they? They are just implementations in technical form, that is code, for some set rules. Ethereum, when it started, had some rules, and all of these, it had its own code base. But the one thing important was that it never allowed for rolling back of transactions. But in 2016, there was a hack on Ethereum. What happened was, some due to some error, there was some um fault in a DAO, and it was hacked, and the wallet was losing some money to hackers. And Ethereum decided that what they want is to take the blockchain back to a state in which the hack had not happened. But it was against the rules of the blockchain, because what is a blockchain? Like, it's an immutable ledger. So by moving back, essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to change something that has happened in the past. So you are not allowed to do it. So what happened was Ethereum blockchain was forked into two. And if you go to any prominent uh, cryptocurrency asset exchange, or anything like Binance, FTX, India, WazirX, and all, you'll still see ETC listed, which is the Ethereum, which was not altered. And you see ETH, which is Ethereum, which is the currently second biggest cryptocurrency. ETH is the cryptocurrency that was formed because some people, most of the community, decided that they wanted to go back and change the blockchain, and that is why it was forked. So if you find it that the blockchain or the protocol itself has to be changed, or something basic has to be changed, or something, you can just fork it. And if your fork, that is the path that you have chosen, if that is the one people agree with, if that is the one the whole community or some other project agrees with, if they find value in it, and if they see your perspective and they agree with it, they can come and they can launch their own services in that fork as well. So we have lots of choices in and around this stuff. Lastly, we've talked about this. We get the ability to resist countries. Let's move on. So finally, the agenda. Okay, what exactly is community management and Web3? So like I said, we talked about decentralization, that is moving from one centralized company to tens of thousands of people around the internet hosting your services, that is becoming validators and uh, uh, providing services to the network collectively. So how does this happen? Like, how do people become the owner of a project? like moving from big tech to people. That is the example I took when I talked about Instagram taking a token model and quantifying usage and giving these tokens to people. And now using these tokens, they'll give you votes. You do whatever the community votes. And a community running the Web3 project, that is this uh, Instagram is now running basis the tokens given out. So how does this happen? Essentially all of this is encompassed in community management in Web3. Not only do we have the things we talked about in community management earlier in the session, that was the Web2 version, but now we've also added some more uh, responsibilities, or rather some job for us to do. And see, for us to run these projects on the internet, uh, for us to run these projects over the blockchain and build a decentralized project, we must build a community around it. And we want to be able to control these projects. But now, how exactly is this done? Well, this is done by forming DAOs, which is decentralized autonomous organization, which is, think of it this way, it's just a community on the internet of people. And all of these people who are part of this community are following some particular rules or have some particular interests. And all of this is built on a blockchain, and the blockchain enforces all of these rules. uh, So, what exactly is the role of community playing in a Web3 project? I won't go into what role the Web2 project might play, because that was all sort of explained in the TPF one. But on top of those roles and responsibilities, these responsibilities come in. Like, one of the most important thing is the governance of the project. Like, for example, let's say, okay, the project is hacked. Now what happens? Recently there was a hack called the Mango Market, on a project called Mango Markets, in which the hacker stole some funds due to some manipulation. And uh, they then he put on uh, a, a resolution mechanism that basically allowed the community to not charge him for that hack and give him some sort of money as well. But similarly, DAOs provide a mechanism for people to govern this community as a whole. Uh, on Ethereum, what you can do is you can submit a proposal. Like, let's say, let's just build a new um, let's say you decide to go to the Ethereum community forum, and you just put on a proposition, okay, let's build a new sequencer, or let's reduce the validator requirement from 32 ETH to 16 ETH. Now the community and all these people who hold some token, or whatever is the specific of your project, these people will vote on it. And if the vote is passed, that is, it gets more than 50%, 60%, whatever is your requisite, it's passed, then that action is taken. Then you can define the usage of the project, as in, let's say, MakerDAO, which is like I said, it's a lending protocol which also issues some stable coins. Now what if they decide to delist their stable coin, which is DAI, from the Curve is an automated market maker. um, Essentially it's just an exchange like Binance's or whatever. What if this protocol which has this stable coin, what if they don't want to list uh, their stable coin on that exchange? Well, because there is no one particular company or one uh, board of representatives that decides this. Who gets to decide it? It's the community. Well, they can have a vote on it if they want to delist it or list it. Similarly, you can change the project of the scope of the project, or maybe define some new things. Like, what if MakerDAO decides to buy some more USDC? All of this decision making can be done in that DAO uh, that is organized by the community itself. And you can build all sorts of things. You can check out Bankless DAO if you want to learn more about onboarding to Web3 as such, but essentially they can also provide engagement to all the project members, okay, how learn how to use this protocol, how to contribute to the protocol, and as such. That is what the community does. Um, we'll talk about TPH. So I myself am a member of TPH. Um, TPH is short for the Product House. We are a community, like I said, of Web3 enthusiasts. Uh, I would say I myself am a very, very strong believer in blockchains and Web3 as a whole. And we, all of us, are part of this, who are part of this community, are believers that it is a paradigm shifting technology. And that is why we are part of it. And we want to educate people. Okay, we are shifting from Web2 to Web3. What does it mean? What all changes are being brought by it? And how is it going to affect you? How if you want to upskill from web 2 to web 3, how you can make that transition, and much more. We are among the fastest growing web 3 communities in India. We have about 50K plus users. um, we are partnered with Polygon, MetaMask, Aave, um, Pillow, Filecoin, etc., which are some of the top tier Web3 projects. And like I said, primarily what do? We simplify Web3 concepts and content for people, for them to consume it easily. We also provide our members with a platform for them to connect and engage and interact and discuss with other Web3 enthusiasts. And finally, I also bring our audience for to these Web3 projects, who want to make a shift from Web2 to Web3. What exactly? One thing I want to plug in right now is, remember when I initially talked about we have this TPF. I defined you what TPF was and what the community is, and all you had to do when you think about a community was just switch product management with some other thing, and you'll have a new community. Now you switch product management with Web3 and you have TPH. Now we're having a platform for enthusiasts to connect on Web3. We're having content and concepts for people to interact and consume on that thing. Now we're having audience learn bit more about it. We're engaging them by hosting meetups for them on this thing. We're helping companies which are looking for people in this domain help hire these people. And what is the connecting thing? Well, it's Web3. So anyways, what is TPH doing for the Web3 space? So we have courses for you to upskill. Course is more of a very bland and term, but rather we provide you with the means of upskilling from Web 2 to Web 3. Like if you want to learn what exactly is a blockchain, how is consensus achieved in a blockchain, what is USDC, what exactly is a token, um, how did this hack happen, and all these things, we cover all these things. So Web3 fundamentals is was one of our um, uh, initiatives to help people learn more about Web3 concepts. We also have another one coming up, which is about building your own Web3 project. So we do have these upskilling uh, initiatives. Then we host Twitter spaces, and we host Discord sessions and Zoom sessions on what went down in the whole crypto space in the last few weeks, or an AMA on, let's say, how to buy and flip an NFT. So we have AMAs of this sort, and we we invite top tier guests to converse about these things and uh, bring about this knowledge to the members of our community. Also, we host meetups for people who are enthusiastic about it and who want to break in, or just want to have a chat with similar individuals. We also help folks find jobs in Web3 for people who are looking to break into Web3. And if you look at the image, the bottom right, you'll see us truly here at a Delhi meetup. We hosted about a couple of months ago. And moving on, like if all of this has you excited and you're looking to Web3, so how can you do it? So basically, there are two parts. There is upskilling and there is actually finding a job. So what can you do to upskill? Well, like I said, we host Twitter Spaces sessions, we host Discord sessions, we plan to host YouTube live streams, but similar organizations have live streams. You can take part of in any Zoom session or etc. from us, TPH, or from any other similar organization. Just you have to express your content and find these sources is all. You can listen to podcasts. My bad, spelling mistake here. Anyways, you can listen to podcasts, some prominent ones. Maybe you can find the Defiant, Bankless, etc. You can follow people and read threads on Twitter. The Twitter thread trend is like on its peak. Everyone is writing threads about all sorts of things. You just have to find the right people and read their threads and learn. That is all. Information out there is plenty. All you have to do is find the right sources and thoroughly follow them. Lastly, to upskill, you can subscribe to Substack or Mirror publications or Medium articles from Web3 big Web3 personalities. um, Soon, very soon, TPH will be sharing a curated list of people and resources to follow to upskill in Web3, an updated one, that is. Um, on the second part, how do you find a job? So you just have to keep your eyes open. We at TPH host our job board, so you can just go there and find the jobs there. Similarly, there are other job boards as well. Another thing you can do is go to agel.co or some similar website and just put out the filter and change the domain to blockchains or web3 or whatever, web3 projects, whatever, and then you can find jobs there as well. You can follow people uh, at at project level and VCs who invest in web3, um, to look into. Follow them and they'll share what companies in their portfolio are having these openings, etc., etc. So that is how you can break into Web3. Anyways, that's it. That's for my talk. Uh, Thank you. You can take away, Shiva. Am I audible? Uh, Shiva, you're on mute if you're saying something.
Yeah,
Hey, so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
yeah.
Awesome. Think I got disconnected. How's it going? Thanks so much, Pulkit. I was listening into your session. Thanks so much for sharing all that. Just maybe one addition is Web3 has tons of resources. What we're trying to do is trying to make it really simple for you to enter. So, um, if you're looking for a starting point, what we're trying to do is help you learn on and build in Web3. So we've launched the Learning Academy. So do check that out. That could be a starting point in case you want to upskill, learn more about this world. Then, like Pulkit shared, is about okay, hey, now I want to transition. Now I want to, start owning in Web3. We've launched our job board. We have a bounty board coming soon. Participate in hackathons like this one. That's probably one of the best ways to start contributing and learning more. And we also have the build layer coming soon. So I think that should be a good starting point. After which you can definitely once you have your foot in the door, then everything else automatically comes to you. You'll probably be talking to more people here. You'll participate in more meetups. You'll participate in discussions. Um, you can follow people on Twitter, etc. So while there is lots available there, what we're trying to do is simplify that starting point, and we've curated that part for you.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay, so let me ask you some questions, right?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, tell me, there are many media houses are writing articles about you. Like, what have you done? Just introduce your story a little bit. Like, how did you figure all this?
Figure all about the product house.
Yes.
Awesome. So the backstory is we didn't enter this community world new. We've been running the product for over 3.5 years now, which is India's largest product community, on track to become Asia's largest, right? So the building blocks of building a decentralized community uh, was sown way before things became popular, DAOs or anything else became popular in 2020, 2021. What we realized late of 2021 is that there should have been a more streamlined approach for people looking. There was a lot of noise, like Pulkit said. Yes, there are tons of Substack newsletters, there are tons of Twitter people you can follow, but you need a little more streamlined approach to actually breaking. And that's where I think TPH really came through. And many of our existing community members in our Web2 community, that is the product for, were interested to learn more about, hey, what is blockchain all about, hey, what is Web3 all about, right? So that is a good starting point, and that's where we started growing this. Never expected it to grow this fast this soon, um, but yeah, I think it's been interesting. It's just been under 6 months and growing super fast. I think it's interesting the way people came, like Pulkit, in fact, just joined us as well and started leading a bunch of things on the Discord. So if any of you guys are also looking to start contributing, feel free to DM me personally or the product house on Twitter. We'd love to have you folks get involved.
Like you weren't born with a silver spoon. Definitely, you must went through a lot of ups and downs. So tell
Uh,
me one biggest failure that you had, and what did you learn from it?
Biggest failure.
Yeah, and what you learned from that.
I can't remember a biggest failure per se, but I think I completely agree with you on the ups and downs bit. I think on social, everyone looks at only the ups, right? We celebrate each other's winning. On a day-to-day basis, okay, let me tell you, there are within product house itself. I'll tell you, there have been a bunch of initiatives which we've tried launching, right? And given priorities, given how markets have changed, mm, given delays on projects, right? There were, for example, mm, one of the initiatives that we wanted to launch was essentially a decentralized co-working space online, right? Think of it as a WeWork, but in the online space. That project has been running for over 3 months, and each of those deadlines we've been missing. So I think those small delays, I think, is something that affects the team. Apart from that, let me try coming up with a good question though. I should think more about it because I can't come up with one big failure right now. But I can assure you there have been many.
Yeah.
Biggest learning there is, I think, it's a series. Like the success that you see is mostly the tip of the iceberg. Every single successful person you see out there has multiple failures that they go through, which usually is behind the scenes, right? The one thing that we've learned, at least at TPF, is do not aim for perfection, at least in the beginning. Try shipping, try iterating, try going to market. You'll learn a lot from the customers. Is this something that is really needed? How you can make it better? Go with an iterative approach because a lot of us get stuck in the name of perfection and don't end up launching itself, right? So get 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 across that fear of failure and try going one step ahead where it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least get that V1 out. And that's, I think, where that's how we've been shipping tons of products. So that's been my biggest learning from series of not so successful things that we've come across in the last 3.5 4 years.
Yeah. Okay, tell me three names who have been most influential to you.
Influential to me personally.
Yeah.
um, Early days there was a director at Make My Trip when we were starting TPF. His name was Ankur. I think he's been super influential, super helpful for us personally, just guiding us along the way. Another one in the product space is Manas Saloi. He is a senior group product manager at Gojek right now. A really, really interesting guy. Usually unknown to the outside world, but has been a huge supporter of what we do. And at TPH, there is Ankur and the team at Obvious. There is Arindam, who's the founder of Pillow. Both amazing product guys who've been guiding us through, helping us bridge the Web 2 and Web 3 gap. I'm sure I'm missing out a lot more people, but these are the first few that came to mind.
Yeah. Well, what are the books are you reading right now?
Right now, have opened multiple, but I haven't completed anything. Um, the recent book that I was reading was the autobiography of Elon Musk. I think that's something that I picked up recently, just a couple of pages in. And another one is called Art of War by Lao Tzu. I think that's the author. I'm not too sure, but yeah, these are two books that I'm currently reading.
Yeah. Also, give us three book recommendations from your end with no particular genre.
Three book recommendations.
Yes.
Two I mentioned. I think these are two great books. One that I'd add to this would be something that's non-fictional, maybe, or maybe something of fiction, right? Actually, for those who haven't read the Harry Potter series, do pick that up. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. There is. What is one myth about Web3 that you want to debug?
Web three.
Yeah.
The biggest myth
One
is
myth.
the number of users that are currently active, that have currently active wallets. I think there's a lot of chilling that's going around in this space. So do your own research. It's easy to lose money. Of course, there are great projects doing great work here, but it's easy to get lost in the noise. So definitely DIY, do your own research.
Absolutely. Could you just elaborate a little bit on your crypto portfolio?
I have a bunch. I think I'm still holding. Market is down, so do hold a couple of NFTs. I do hold a couple of tokens right now. I've also done a bunch of equity investments with early stage Web3 startups. So it is split across all. I'm not disclosing any number, but I think the public wallet is available for anyone who wants to go check it out. Most investments are via the private wallets.
What are some great resources that had helped you along the way?
Great resources.
Yes.
In product, I think Reforge is something that I've really enjoyed. In Web3, I think A16Z's startup school is something that was very interesting to me. Of course, post that, I think lots and lots of interesting discussions I used to tune into. Chatting with early stage founders gives you a deep insight into some of the building stories. But I think these are two good starting points for a lot of product and Web3 enthusiasts. If you're on the founding side, do check out YC Startup School. I think these three have been pretty influential to my personal journey.
Uh, I hope I covered everything, but if you are in my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
What would I've asked myself? I'll tell you what are some common questions I get from early stage folks. Um, One very interesting one that I keep getting over and over again is how important are certifications. Uh, if you're an early stage builder, forget certifications. Web3 has no value for any kind of certifications. Do your learning, do your research, and proof of work is all it counts, right? So that is one that I'd love to highlight. Second, build and grow with communities. Find your tribe, right? As you get involved in more, our Discord is open. You can join them. You can participate in hackathons like the one that we're currently doing. It's a long journey, so just keep at it. Don't get carried away by fundraisers. Don't get carried away by Twitter fame, etc., etc. All that is part of the process. But if you're there in it for the long run, you'll figure out something or the other. So I think these are two things that I'd love to share. Believe in the power of compounding.
Yes, yes. Finally, thank you so much for doing this. It was a pleasure having you all. We got a
Thanks so
lot
much.
of answers, lot of explanation. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks so much for hosting us. Have a wonderful hackathon.
Thank you. Thank
See you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Shiva.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Shiva. It
Bye
was
bye.
a pleasure to have this call with you, to have all those folks, to learn about what is product management in Web3, how you can build and manage and engage the community members in Web3, and what we as a community, TPH, we do in Web3, how we make people aware about Web3, like what is NFT, what is a metaverse, very basic things. So we are really grateful to have this platform and to engage with all the audiences. Thank you so much.